Happy morning, dear friends. Here's yours, Dr. Ajanta. Welcome to day 30 session. Today we are just going to see about Python while loop functions. Loops in Python programming, the functions similar to loops in C, C++, Java or other languages. Python loops are used to repeatedly execute a block of statement until a given condition returns to be false. In Python, we have two types of looping statements, namely for loop and while loop. We have already discussed related with the for loop. Let me just see what is the while loop is for. And loops are used in Python, the programming, to repeat a specific block of code. We use a while loop when we want to repeat a code block. And what is while loop is for? See, the while loop in Python is used to iterate over a block of code as long as the expression or the condition is true. When the condition becomes false, execution comes out of the loop immediately and the first statement after the while loop is executed. We generally use this loop when we don't know the number of times to iterate beforehand. So Python interprets any non-zero values as true. None and zero are interpreted as false. Why and when to use while loop in Python? This question arises: when do we use the while loop and why do we use it? So here are the exact answer, dear friends. Kindly have a note of it. The first one is automate and repeat task. As we know, while loop executes blocks of code over and over again until the condition is met. It allows us to automate and repeat tasks in an efficient manner. Next, indefinite iteration. The while loop will run as often as necessary to complete a particular task. When the user doesn't know the number of iteration before execution, while loop is used instead of a for loop. And next, reduce complexity. While loop is easy to write, using the loop, we don't need to write the statement again and again. Instead, we can write statement we wanted to execute again and again inside the body of the loop, thus reducing the complexity of the code. Next, it's infinite loop. If the code inside the while loop doesn't modify the variables being tested in a loop condition, the loop will run forever. And here it is the syntax, dear friends, that is, in the while loop, the expression or the condition is checked first. So with this syntax, and the body of the loop is entered only if the expression or the condition evaluates to true. After one iteration, the expression and condition is checked again. The process continues until the test expression evaluates to false. And kindly have a note of it, dear friends. An infinite loop occurs when a program keeps execution within one loop, never leaving it. So to exit out of infinite loop on the command line, just press Ctrl plus C. Next, let me just see it with one by one with an examples. How to print a number less than 5. So let me just have a number, that is the count is equal to 1, and I just want to run this loop until it has to count less than 5. So here, while count is less than 5, I want to make the execution, that is to print it. So by printing it, it just execute the output. And see here, dear friends, we want to make the printing function till it reaches the 5. So here we need the count to be incremented. So once on each and every time when the increment does, it just check the condition whether it is less than or 5. And once if it is reaching the 5, it just not enters into the print function, that is the body of the while condition. It just terminate and come out of the loop. So for that execution, that is incremental of 5, it won't be executed, that is it would be get terminated. So till 5 till 4 it would be printed. Yeah, let me just make it with one more example. See here, dear friends, a number is equal to 10 and we are having a sum is equal to 0 and I is equal to 1. These things we are just going to make use of the sum of first 10 numbers. So number, we need 10 numbers. So for that, we are just making it whether it should be less than or equal to 10. And next one, i's, to make the initiation. And we need to make the summation of each and every number. So we need the sum variable here. So sum is equal to sum plus I. So each and every time when on that incrementing of I, it has to get to be added to that of sum. So for this function, we are just making use of, at the end we need to execute the sum of the whole 10 numbers. Yeah. So for the this print function is executed, and let me just see what is that total. Yeah, it is 55. Okay, next it is an example that is, see here dear friends, a is equal to 10. So a, it is the variable where enter the body of the while loop because condition is true. See here we are just making whether the value a is, whether it is in a true condition or not. And see here dear friends, if a is equal to 10, that is if it is a is greater than 0, yeah, it enters into the loop. And if it is not, that is it is not greater than 0, or if it is equal to 0, it is going to terminate the loop, that is it is not going to enter into that of loop. So see here we are just making, instead of incrementing, here it is decremented by 2. And once of all the loop is terminated or the exact process is completed, we need to end with the loop is completed. And here it is the output. Kindly have a note of it, dear friends. So value of a is 10, and as it is initiated, and for each and every loop it just checks whether it is greater than 0 and makes a decrement of -2. And once it reach 2, yeah, it is making again one more decremental, and here it seems a is equal to 0, so it doesn't enter into the loop. Instead of it just terminated and get out of the loop, and at last it would be printing loop is completed. Okay, now the next example, see here dear friends, that is uh, we are having a number n with a value 153, and we are just making the sum is equal to 0. And see here dear friends, here what is the thing is the reminder, that is if the number is greater than 0, it has to enter into the body where r is the remainder of the division. So here it just makes the modulus of to that of number 153, which is modulus of 10. And what is the remainder of this is, it would be 3. So in that we just want to make the summation to this of equal to the sum, that is sum plus the remainder, that is r. And when we just make use of n is equal to n by 10, each and every time it just makes to that of division by 10, and it makes the loop for the next iteration, that whether if it is again is greater than 0 or not. And see here dear friends, once for all, the again the summation here, it just going to execute it. Yeah, here it is only once it is executed, and the sum it would be 9.999. Next one, how many times a given number can be divided by 3 before it is less than or equal to 10? So here what we just want is I want to make how many times, so I just want a count. And here the number given is 180, and while the number is greater than 10, so we want to make into the condition, that is into the body of the while, where it just divide the number by 3. And see here dear friends, as we want to make the count number of count to be calculated, so here we are just making the increment of count, and at last once for all the exact process is completed, we want to output, that is execute the total iteration of this exact function. So see here, when on just making this 180, first it just makes 180, and it just makes that is of divided by 3, and again it increases the count, and again it just makes, and totally it just have three counts, sorry, three times of iteration it happened. Okay, and next one, what is the program is? See, program to add natural numbers up to sum is equal to 1 plus 2 plus 3 until n. Yeah, often you would just get this type of questions in your practical sessions. And to take input from the user, you are just making n is equal to int input from the user, enter the n. And see here, dear friends, we just have the n is equal to 10. If you want to get from the user, yeah, you can just make use of the first command, this one. Okay, now it is specified that n is equal to 10, and with that we are just making that initialization of sum and counter. So just sum is equal to 0 and the counter here it is 1. And see here, dear friends, in this program the test expression will be true as long as the counter variable I is less than or equal to n, and here n is equal to 10 in our program. And we need to increase the value of the counter variable in the body of the loop. And this is very important and mostly forgotten, for failing to do so will result in an infinite loop. And finally the result is displayed, that is the print the sum of. The sum of it is 1 plus 2 plus 3 until n it just moves on. And let me just see the execution. Yeah, here as we have already seen that the summation of 1 to 10 is 55. Yeah, here the answer is to that of same. Next goes to Fibonacci series. Yeah, here we just want to make the Fibonacci series, and here by using a single statement we are declaring two variables a, b, and making the values as 0 and 1. And while b is less than 1000, it just enters into the loop where it just makes the Fibonacci whether it is making the exact execution of the series. And see here, if this makes the flush of the function if it is true, and once for all it just makes the functionality, that is which we just say a is equal to b and b is equal to a plus b, which just makes the iteration. And once for all, if the b is less than 1000, it just makes the iteration, that is the continues the iteration once for all. If it is done, yeah, it is just going to terminate the loop and ends the function. And here it is once for all making the line of ending, and here the execution output. And next coming the while loop with the if else. See here, dear friends, a while loop can have an optional if else block. We use if else statements in the loop when conditional iteration is needed. That is, if the condition is true, then the statement inside the if block will execute otherwise, and the else block will execute. And here it is the example, dear friends. See, n is equal to input. Yeah, you are just going to get an number from the user. So please enter number. And if that number it is greater than 0, check whether the number is even or not by making the modulus function. And you can just check that condition by if program. And see, this if function, it just have the condition, that is n modulus of 2. If it is equivalent to 0, yeah, it is an even number, else it is an odd number. And see here, we have to just decrease the number 1 in each of iteration. So from the exact execution, it is just going to enter how many numbers you are just want to print. And here it is the output, dear friends. Let I just give the number 9, and see, yeah, 9 is odd number, 8 is even number, 7 is odd number, 6 is even number, until till it is less than that is 0 or equivalent to 0, it just continues the iteration. Okay, next we just go for the example. printing the square of odd number less than n. So till n, we need to make the square of the odd number. First, we have to check whether the given number is odd number or not. Okay, so for that, let me just have the input of the n number that is to be less than n. So it just enters into the while condition, while loop, and there it checks whether it is the even or odd. And if it is an odd number, it has to be just made the square of it. Else it has to just print I, and it ends to that of else functionality. So here it is the output, dear friends. See here, for 1 and 2, so 3, it is an odd number, so it just gives the square of 3, it is 9. And for 4, it is an even number. And 5, it is the odd number, so the resultant is 25. And next, 6 is an even number. And next, we are just having the 7 as an odd number, so it returned as 7 square, which is 49. And next one, 8, so it is an even number. And next, if it is an odd number, yeah, 9 is an odd number, so it just returns as 9 square, which is 81. So these are programs or somewhat interesting and unique thing. Okay, next let me just see add all even numbers from 1 to 10 using while loop. Okay, so we have to check whether the number limited to which one. So here you can just get the maximum value, or you can just specify, yeah, here we have just specified as 10 to be the maximum value. And next we want to make the summation. Yeah, so for that, sum is equal to 0, and I to be the first number we want to initiate it. And see here, dear friends, while I is less than or equal to n, here we want to just make whether it is odd or even. So with that function, we want to just make the modulus, which is equivalent to 0. And see here, if it is of even, yeah, it is going to make the summation. And see, sum is equal to sum plus I, and you can just make use of I is equal to I plus 1 to make the continuation of the iteration. And once for all, once the exact iteration is finished, yeah, we get the summation of, that is the sum of even numbers from 1 to 10. Here it is specified. Here we are just having one more interesting example. See here, dear friends, write a code to add all the prime numbers between 17 to 53 using while loop. Yeah, first we want to just make use of the exact method where we want to have the prime numbers, and here it is specified the range. Yeah, it is from 17 to 54, and for that we can use for loop. And once for all, if it is greater than or equal to 2, it just enters into the while condition. And here it is the while condition. What is just going to check, it is for the modulus of k, which is not equivalent to 0 for the prime number. And if it is I is equal to k, yeah, it is just going to make the summation. And for this, kindly just see, dear friends, this exact summation, it is for the loop of the while condition, where it just get each and every number from the inner body of this while, and then it just checks for the outer is in the sense for the for loop. And the for loop, it just makes the iteration from 17 till 54, and each and everything it is summed, and it is just kept in the value of I. And kindly just have a note of it, that is the total sum we are just getting, it is from the sum of the value, and that be executed here. So we are just having two prints. One is to have the exact number 17, 19, 23, 29 until 53 we are just having, and total the sum is to be executed. And next we are just going to see, that is while loop with else. A while loop can have an optional else block as well. The else part is executed if the condition in the while loop evaluates to false. And see here, dear friends, if the else will be skipped or ignored when the while loops terminates abruptly, or the break statement, or which is used to break the while loop, that would be included there. Okay, and this break statement and pass or continue, that special statements, let me just see tomorrow, but tomorrow's session. Okay, anyhow, we just continue with these examples with else part alone. And see here, dear friends, here we are just having a count is equal to 0, where that count should be less than 5 to make the iteration. If it is greater than 5, or it just goes to out of the loop and makes the functionality. And see, this above loop condition will be false when count is less than 5, and loop stops and executes the starts the else statement. Okay, as the result 5 will be outputted, that is printed. Till 5 it has to make the iteration. So once if it is done, so apart from the finishing of this while, this else would be started and uh, executed. So see here, dear friends, this is less than 5. So till less than 5, it would be executed by the while condition, and at last the fifth one would be executed by the else condition. And see here, dear friends, here we are just having one more functionality, where use while loop to print numbers from 1 to 6. Okay, see here, this 1 to 6, here we have just specified equal, so the 6 also be included. But what is the thing is, once for all finishing this iteration in the while condition, anyhow the last else part has to be done to execute the while condition, or to ends with the while condition. Okay, so here it is not nothing much more specialty, the just executing the I from the 1 till 6. And see here, this is the exact output. So from I 1 to 6, it would be executed, because here we have just specified less than or equal to 6. Next, there is one more functionality, that is else block will break statement in a while loop. And see here, this break, if you are just having or attaining any functionality, it is done abruptly, and it just passes on to the else function. So if you want to make any functionality, so see here, dear friends, when you just make the same method above, here the I is equal to less than or equal to 6, so it just enters into the loop. But when see here, if I is equal to 3, it is just going to break it. So till 3 it would be executed, and after 3 it is not going to make the incremental, rather it just passes on to the else function, and it finishes as just done while loop executed. And see here, it is the break, so holds for else the exact execution would be stopped, that is abruptly. Okay, so even though if it is while or else or whatever be, once if the break is comes, even though it is not passing on to the else 2. And see here, just 1 2 3 has been executed. And next comes the example. See here, dear friends, here we use a counter variable to print the string inside loop 3 times. That is, counter is less than 3, so inside while loop it has to be done for three times, so 3 times it has to be executed. Okay, and next it has to execute that inside else. So on the fourth iteration, the condition in while becomes false, and hence the else part is to be executed. Okay, so here the exact counter, it is just going to increment it, that is to start and make the iteration of this till less than 3. So let me just see this. Yeah, see here, dear friends, inside while loop, it is inside while loop, it is just printed thrice, and once for all finishing the while condition, it just starts the else condition, where it prints inside else. Okay, next it is the program, that is we want to user to enter a number between 100 and 60, 600. Okay, fine. If we just making that number, and while number is less than 100 or number is greater than 600, what it just going to do? Yeah, incorrect number, please enter correct number. And if you are entering it correctly, yeah, given number is correct. Okay, so this is how the exact execution. Let me just make it the whole process and see here, dear friends. Let I just give less than 100 once, just 99, and see incorrect number, please enter correct number. And see here, once again I'm just going to give the number that is greater than 600, so 601. Yeah, that too incorrect number, please enter given number. So till it just satisfied, it just makes it the iteration. And see here, if this condition is to be false, we have to give the number between 100 and 600. So let I just give 555. Yeah, the given number is correct, which is in 55. Oh, sorry, 555. Okay, next comes the reverse while loop. The reverse loop means an iterating loop in the backward direction. A simple example includes, that is, display numbers from 10 to 1, or reverse a string, or reversing a list. So that is what the most used examples when on providing some reverse while loop functionality. And here it is the same. Yeah, here what is the thing is, we are just going to get a number here, n. So okay, here it is as like I, and that I, it has to be less than or equal to 0. So where instead of incremental, here you are just going to provide the decremental to reach the while condition to be false. Until the false it's there, yeah, it is just going to display the number from 10 to 1 in the reversing order. Here it is the result. Next comes the nested while loop, and see here, dear friends, nested while loop is a while loop inside another while loop. And in the nested while loop, the number of iteration will be equal to the number of iteration in the output loop, where multiple by the iteration in the inner loop. In each iteration of the outer loop, the inner loop executes all its iteration. And here it is the syntax. Kindly have a look in this example, dear friends. See here, I just want to print the first 10 numbers on each line 5 times. Okay, on each line 5 times. Okay, let me just have it as less than or equal to 3. So here it is another 3 times. Okay, so here what I just making is I is less than equal to 1, and from the initiation till 10 I just want to iterate. Okay, so in the first line it just enters in the iteration of 1 to 10, and again it just makes how many times I want it 5 times. Okay, here I just specified it as a 3 times, so till 3 times it just makes the iteration of the outer. So see the execution output. See, the for the first iteration it just go as a count of I, and next the j is initiated j, the first number of the to be printed, and it just makes the iteration of j plus 1 till it reaches the 10. And once for all, if it is done, yeah, you just go for the second count, that is second iteration of the number of times. And there here we are just specified as a 3 times. Okay, if we want to execute it as a for 5 times, yeah, here it's, I just want to enter the first 10 numbers on each line. I want to execute it in for 5. Next, let me just have some patterns to be printed by using while loop. Yeah, see here, dear friends. Yeah, the same thing. Outer while loop is the one which it just shows how many rows, and when just coming inside how many columns, and for each and everything we are just going to have it in a new line. For that, the new iteration it just increases. And here it is the output. Yeah, one more example which it just shows a for loop inside while loop. A for loop inside while loop, where that for loop, see, we can also use for loop where inside a while loop that also be nested. And here it is an example where I just want to make use of while I is less than 6. So till 5 it's just going to execute. What it's just going to execute? The stars. That is the pattern. And for how many times? Yeah, it is just going to enter till the exact iteration, that is the range from 1 to I plus 1. I is the sense which we are just having it into the exact range, that is the iteration one, that is outer loop. Okay, until it reaches it, and it again once for all it goes for the next iteration of while condition, and for that we just having it I is equal to I plus 1. Okay, and here it is the output difference. And previously we have just seen this one prime number between 17 to 15 3 by using while loop. And here what we are just going to make use of is the while loop with the for loop, and with the if, else, break, everything is inside a mixed functionality. And kindly have a look of this. Here we are just starting the n is equal to 17, and we need to make the summation. Yeah, and here we are just making the condition from 17, it has to be there till 53. Okay, and see here dear friends, we are just want to make whether the exact number to be prime. For that we are just making the range with the for condition and with the else. If it is so, it has to be make the summation, that is else for incrementing of this range, and here this else to make the summation and print the number. The number is in the sense that is 17 to 53. Okay, so here it just checks for the prime number. If it is not, it just makes the break and check for each and everything inside the range. And if it is so, if it is the condition is false, here it just enters into the else part, where here it seems to be the prime number and makes the summation and holds for all. Yeah, here it just gets the execution, and the total number is, sorry, total sum of 17 to 53 is 340. And one more example we can just see with the same while, for, and with functionality. And here we are not using any break system, but just a so perfect number uh, from 1 to 10. And the perfect number here, what we just specifying is whether yeah, any perfect number that we just want to make the iteration, that is the range to be there within inside the loop, and within one more if loop is there. And for your information, here we are just having two perfect number, one is a 6 and second one is 28, where for each and every iteration it just shows it. Yeah, you can also iterate the string by using while loop condition. By looping through the string using while loop, we can do a lots of string operations. And see here dear friends, here it is a simple example. Just this string, you want to just get it one by one. First you are just identifying the length by using the length of this name, and with the exact resultant each and every character to be displayed one by one. And here it is. Next is an example of iterate list using while loop. And see here dear friends, this list, Python list, is an ordered collection of item of different data type. So it means lists are ordered by index numbers starting from 0 to the total item minus 1. Okay, so list items are enclosed in square bracket that we have already seen. So number is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3 comma 4 comma 5 comma 6 comma 7. So that can also be in an integer, or you can also have any string or any float values as the element of the list. And using a loop, we can perform various operations on the list. There are way to iterate through element init. So here are some of the examples. Let me just see. And see here, dear friends, using the while loop to iterate over a list. Here it is the list, and you just want to uh, know what is the exact list. And to the same as we have just seen the above example with the string, here we just want to know what is the length of the numbers, that is length of the list, how many elements are there, and with the size we want to execute one by one as an element. And let I just execute here. Yeah, it is 1 2 3 6 and 9. And that comes, you can also make use of mixed element. Yeah, here it is 60 hello world and 90.96. And see here I just don't want to print every three numbers or all three numbers, just 1 and 2. Or if I just want to make it, yeah, I can just provide it by a condition I is less than 2, so that it just prints only the 1 and 2, that is 0 and 1. And see here the output. And kindly have a note of it, dear friends, when working with the while loop, it is important to declare the indexing variable I, so beforehand, and to increment the indexing variable accordingly, else it will result in an infinite loop. So kindly have a note of that. And next comes the iterate numbers using while loop. Yeah, now consider a program where you want to print out the squares of all the numbers less than a particular number. So let's see how it just works in while statement. So printing the square of numbers less than n, and less than n in the sense, so here I is the 1, so I is less than or equal to 10. So here it's just going to printing the elements in the index, in the sense, so if you are just that is making it into the multiple of 2. So 1 into 1, so 2 into 2, 3 into 3, 4 into 4, like that. So from if I just want to make it till that is from 1 to 10, here let me just see the resultant. Sorry, here I just missed the intent. Okay, so anyhow I just type what I have to type it. So while of that is I which is less than or equal to 10. Okay, so still some more. And see here, dear friends, this is the exact output. So 1 into 1, 2 into 2, 3 into 3, 4 into 4, 5 into 5, 6 into 6, 7 into 7, and so on till 10. So that is how the printing the square of the number which is less than n, and here the n is 10. And you can also just make use of the same thing by cube. Yeah, cube just was interesting. And see here, that is cube. You can just print anything. Just you can make repeated of thrice or the same into. That's I into I into I. So here we just want to make the cube of a number from 1 to 9. So I am not giving equivalent here. So I is less than 10. Okay, so I is less than 10. So here it is the output 1 into 1 into 1, 2 into 2 into 2. So that is what the exact result it is specified here. Yeah, next one, you can just also make use of the loop. Yeah, here I'm just giving a simple one where I just want to make the same thing into 2, that is 1 into 1 and 2 into 2. And once for all finishing the loop condition, it is just has to go for the outer loop condition where it just prints only the loop over. Okay, dear friends, here we have just covered everything in the while loop today's session. Hope we would just see a new topic in the next coming days. Thank you.